CALPADS Error Resolution CERT161 Special Education Program Exit Date or Special Education Exit Reason Code Mismatch. So the first step when resolving any error is to consult the CALPADS error list. And here we have a screenshot of the CALPADS error list. So let's walk through the different sections. You have the error number and error name. These two columns are used for reference. You match the error that's triggering in CALPADS to the error number in the error list and the error name, right? Then you have a description, fields validated, and suggested resolution. An indication of your problem is in the error name. Special Education Program Exit Date or Special Education Exit Reason Code Mismatch. The description tells you the circumstances in which the error is occurring, and then you have the suggested resolution. The first part says understanding the error. SPED records for a student that occur on the same date for the same plan at the same LEA must have the program exit date and program exit reason. The same program exit date and program exit reason. So this is the expectation. Understanding the error tells you the expectation. You have the problem. You have more description on the problem. You have what CALPADS is expecting, and here is a method of resolution provided, right? And for this one says, ensure SPED records a student have the same program exit date and program exit reason when the records have the same LEA, CELPA, meeting date, and amendment date. So when you have multiple SPED records that share a meeting or amendment date, CELPA and LEA, they must, if one has the program exit information populated, they all must, okay? So the error list gives you keys on how to resolve your error by identifying the problem, telling you the expectation, and then providing a method of resolution. And then lastly, the fields validated will tell you the points of comparison. For this error, you use the fields validated to first find corresponding records, and then you identify your discrepancy. And we show you this and how to use the error list during the demo. Okay, so first thing we want to consider is, when is it appropriate to submit a SPED program exit reason and exit date in CALPADS, right? So LEAs should only populate the Special Education Program exit reason and Special Education Program exit date if the student is no longer eligible for services under the following circumstances. A student has returned to regular education, earned a high school diploma, has aged out of special education at the age of 22, was reevaluated and determined to be ineligible, the parent withdrew the student from the special education program, or the student who is 18 years of age or older voluntarily withdrew from special education. You should not populate the exit information, the exit reason, the exit date for the special education program if any of the following scenarios are relevant. If the student transfers to another district, if a student receives a certificate of completion or high school equivalency certificate, a student drops out and has no known enrollment but is less than 18 years old, or the student has deceased. Okay, so here we're going to talk about exiting a plan set. And many of you may not be familiar with the term of plan set. The special education program eligible students are included on reports based on their plan type and plan set. The plan set is used for the purposes of validations and qualified data on reports. A plan set identifies a set of SPED records associated with a student and the same education plan type. A group of SPED records or special education records with the same SSID, plan type, or the plan type is an active IEP, IFSP, or ISP will be assigned to a plan set. Plan sets begin with an initial meeting and are considered active until the associated special education record, any record with the same SSID and education plan, has an exit date and exit reason submitted. The plan set end date is the special education program exit date from the special education record, okay? And so the plan set is described in the glossary in the CALPADS user manual. It's used to define the qualifying criteria for a student on the report. And when we have students who are no longer eligible, we are excluding them from counts in official CALPADS reports. And so we have to understand how and what a plan set is so that we can effectively exclude ineligible students from the reports. And so that's why we're kind of giving you the background on the plan set. We use the information about a plan set to understand how we should properly exit the students and find out why this validation is relevant. And so we can conclude that if the program exit date and program exit reason is populated, then all records with the same LEA, CELPA, meeting date, and amendment date must have a corresponding exit date and exit reason so that we can properly end eligibility by ending the plan set. So we're going to have an online demonstration of how to resolve this CERT161 error. Okay, so let's look at a student's record who's triggering a CERT161. Okay. First, as always, we want to consult the error list, so we have it in front of us. We have our CERT161, and it tells us in name that the special education program exit date or special education exit reason code is a mismatch. The error description says all special education records for a student with the same education plan type, special education meeting date, education plan amendment date, in the same reporting LEA and CELPA must have the same special education program exit date and program exit reason code. So what this tells me is that if you exit a student from your special education program, it should be reflected on all like records. That's what it tells me. It tells you the fields validated in column E. So we're going to look at we're going to confirm the reporting LEA and the SSID is the same for the student. We're going to confirm that the CELPA is the same amongst the different records and that the special education meeting date is the same. The plan type is the same. The education plan amendment date is corresponding, as well as the special education program exit date and reason code. Suggested resolution, understanding the error. SPED records for a student that occur on the same date for the same plan at the same LEA must have the same program exit date and program exit reason. That makes sense, right? We can't use a record to indicate that a student has an active plan, but at the same time has dropped out or exited from the plan, right? It makes sense. Suggested resolution, ensure the SPED records for a student have the same program exit date and program exit reason when the records are the same. Okay, that seems pretty straightforward. So let's take a look. Here's a record generating a CERT161 error. And we can see that the student has a single reporting LEA, so that makes it easy for us. A single CELPA. Okay, that's easy. Several different records, right? So let's look at the plan type code. There's only IEP records. The 4 records are all for an IEP. Okay, so let's look at the special education program exit date. So, okay, I see a conflict, right? I see 3 exit dates and 1 missing. And so one of the things we need to look at is the meeting dates or amendment dates. So there are no amendment dates. None of the records have amendment dates. So that's right. They're all corresponding because they're all null. They're all blank values. So let's look at the meeting dates. Okay, so it looks like we have two types of records. We have two annual records here with the same meeting date, and then a triennial and an annual down here with the same meeting date, but the same plan type. So these two records, if one is exited, the other should be, which is what we see. And these two records, if one is exited, the other should be. And that is not what we see. Because this student has a June 30th, 2019 program exit date, this corresponding record, it's an IEP, it's an annual meeting, it has the same date within the same LEA and CELPA, that should also be exited as well, or this exit reason should be removed. So that's the reason why the error is triggering. Now you must know your data to know the proper correction. I do not know if this student has a continually enrollment is still in the program. I don't know why one program record was exited and the other wasn't. You must know that student, the student's data, and make the appropriate change. That could be submitting an exit date for this record here, or that could be deleting this record and submitting a new one with no exit date. However you want to make your corrections, you must know your data. Thank you. Hopefully that helps you out.